the time has come for me to actually talk about this bit. Like, no way, he just tied up his own wolf boy. You did that, my guy. It's day 4, it's title characters, part 1 though, because there's like, what, more than 40 characters, and if I do them all at once in one sitting, it's gonna be a lot for me and for you. So, but also, Himeru fan, also all the stickers in my desk. Where's all the ensemble related ones? We have Valkyrie and Akatsuki, the OG logos, Hiro here, and some more of my favorites, Chiaki, Shinobu, Mika. And unfortunately, this is the only sticker I could find at the time of you, so here it is. Also, I'm sorry I never mentioned this in video before, but yeah, like, if your only source of ensemble lore is, like, the anime or even the English game, there might be spoilers, maybe, potentially, because I actually don't know how far the English server has gone now, so, but yeah, you've been warned. Alright, I'm gonna go unit by unit in the same order as the first unit video. And I also want to, like, go over their signatures because I want to judge them. Here we're gonna cover Trickstar to UNDEAD, so the first 4 units. Alright, we'll start with Subaru, even though he's not the leader, since he's the face of the game. I think he still is, right? Like, he's the one on the app icon. He's voiced by Kaki, or Tetsuya Kakihara, who at the time I knew mostly for voicing Graf Eisen from Nanoha, which is literally just like a magic German hammer. It's one of my favorite devices from that series. And Natsu from Fairy Tail. That means he has this really cute, bubbly, yet airy voice, and it's just so adorable. He was such a good pick for Subaru. My nickname for him at first was Honoka, like from Love Live, because they look like the fucking same. You could already tell just by the way he looks, he's just like the super happy, jumpy one, right? What I didn't expect was like the whole thing about his dad. They drop a few hints in the beginning, like, oh yeah, his dad's passed away already, and then it's, oh, his dad was a criminal. Oh, he died in jail. And that was bad enough already. But then it gets deeper when you find out he did absolutely nothing wrong and it was all fucking set up by someone in the mafia. Even though Subaru's dad was next in line to be the godfather. Like, wait, why are you related to the mafia? I was like, excuse me? You want to run that by me again? I know his dad's not like one of the high school idol characters, but I have to bring him up when talking about Subaru because it's just like such a big thing, right? But I also bring this up because I was under the assumption that this was gonna be male love life, basically. So I wasn't expecting the happy gung-ho pro-tag to be dealing with that shit, you know what I mean? I don't know, just the whole, like, died in prison part really stuck with me, and I'm usually someone who doesn't pay too much attention to the plot, because, like I've said before, I hate reading. This at least made me turn my head, and look at me now. But back to actual Subaru, so yeah, I used to call him Honoka. I also did think of the car, hee hee ha ha, but I totally got where they were going with it, like the whole stars theme, which I thought was really cute. He was named after a constellation. I was always okay with him, I think. He's got the typical protag energy, but he's also not blindly positive. I don't think. At least not to the point where it would annoy me. Let's be real though, if he was like a real person, I would not be able to deal with him and his energy, but as a character, he's completely fine. Like, the kid may be dumb sometimes, but he's actually so musically talented and is a hard worker. I got nothing against him. I have stopped calling him Honoka, though. Okay, so signature. I'm seeing it from, like, the side here, but I'm gonna put it, like, I don't know, where should I put it? Like, here? It's just cute! It makes sense. It's, like, really round. Oh, he put, like, the star on top. That's really cute. He has, like, extra, like, tenten above the Lu in his name. I guess it's like supposed to be shining or whatever. Yeah, that makes sense. That's super cute. Hokuto! The leader! Okay, so before I get into the first impression, he is currently voiced by Maeno! Tomoaki Maeno, who I really love. I know some of you play Genshin, so Zhongli. He also loves playing Genshin, by the way, like, go watch his channel. Originally voiced by one of my personal favorite voice actors, Hosoya, or Yoshimasa Hosoya. He also happens to voice that one Tsukiyuta character I always bring up. But I think he had issues with his voice, so he had to step down, I think is what it was. Unfortunate, because like, I do love his singing voice. It's pretty distinct. So, the character. When I first saw him, immediately I was like, Haru? Nanase? Free? I think a lot of people did, honestly. Except Haru looks quiet in, like, a soft way. Hokuto at first looked quiet in a stern way. Does that make sense? He struck me as, you know, like how Glasses characters usually act, except he doesn't have any glasses. But also his name, I was like, oh, you also have a star name. That's cute. And his last name, Hidaka, just made me think even more that he'd be really stern, uncaring, because the word ice is in it. But I was so wrong. I did not expect him to be a grandma character. Dude, when he busted out the Completo, I loved him immediately. Especially because I grew up eating those. I could see that he was one of those characters where he looks and speaks really seriously, but he's just also dumb. I love him. For him, though, other than calling him Haru for a long time, I don't think I've ever had a nickname for him. Like, I know in the story they call him Hokke, but, like, I never got along with that one, so I just call him Hokuto. Speaking of Haru, though, that nickname stuck for a while, because when the voice actors changed, I was like, oh, my no voice is Haru in Tsukipara. So it just made so much sense to me. Not anymore, though, of course. Alright, kid, what's your signature look like? It looks as stern as he looked when I first saw him. I know something about it makes sense. Look at the angles and just it's all in Roman letters. It's just very straightforward, yet it's only slightly stylized. Yeah, that sounds about right. You voiced by another one of my favorite voice actors, Shotaro Morikawa. I already knew how he sounds when singing, because he's also just a singer, so I knew he'd have the most distinct voice in the group. I love him so much, help! Visually, I have to say, it immediately reminded me of America from Italia. I was calling him America for a while. And then when I got used to his name being Makoto Yuki, I was like, wait, isn't that the P3 Protax name? He has the glasses, though, and I have a weakness for glasses characters. Like, usually. In general. We'll get to why I say that later. But yeah, he's a character I've loved since the beginning. He was such a nervous boy, but he's improved a lot and I love him lots. He's beautiful with or without his glasses. I see you, Senna. And he's my precious gamer son. I just call him Yu now, unless it gets really confusing, so sometimes I'll say Yuki, but personally, I just call him Yu. What does my son's signature look like? Look at the fucking smiley face! Oh, and he stylized his last name to put the characters together. I love doing that too. Good decision, my son. Oh, the 2 lines in the bottom of his first name is just it's supposed to be like outwards usually, but it looks like a chair or something. I don't know. It's really cute. Oh, I like that. That's adorable. Oh, Mao. Voiced by the now famous Kajiyuki. I mean, he wasn't already in AOT at this point, but before that, I heard him in like Number 6 and Guilty Crown. Which, by the way, before Hokuto changed actors, right, he was voiced by Hosoyan, I was like, oh my god, Hokuto and Mao are just Shion and Nezumi. But yeah, I was so used to hearing Kajiyuki play really depressing roles. So to hear him sound so happy, it gave me whiplash at first. I don't remember having the strongest impression of him, honestly. He definitely didn't look as dumb as the others, but didn't strike me as the typical quiet type like how Hokuto looks. He just seemed kind of normal. Though I did like his hairstyle, because that's how my hair is half the time. I did think his name was interesting, though. I was like, what's the point of making his name sound like Devil when he seemed so normal and nice? Maybe that was the point. I don't know. Turns out he was the smartest one there. But I was also right about him seeming like the most normal, because he had like a whole struggle with that, I believe, early on. He's also a good kid, though. Never really had an issue with him. I do love his actual nickname, but because it clashes with someone I know in real life, I just kept calling him Mao. And I just love how he's always been, like, taking care of Ritsu. That's really cute. He's just a good kid. And now he's the student council president, and I'm so proud of him. Alright, what's his signature, kid? Okay. I mean, clearly it's just his first name. Stylized very interestingly. Ooh, is it supposed to look like there's an X in the middle? Or is that just a byproduct of... Huh, okay. I guess my favorite signature would be, and I'm not just saying that because he's my son, but Yu's legitimately looks the most fun. Like, looking at it as a whole, I don't know, there's something really satisfying about the shape of the signature and the placement of everything. But then my second favorite is Mao's for some reason. I don't know, dude. He look completely different, but I don't know, I like it for some reason. The time has come for me to actually talk about this bitch. Okay, I shouldn't be so mean. I shouldn't joke around that hard, but goddamn AT. Okay, so he's voiced by, unfortunately, one of my favorite voice actors, Hikaru Midorikawa, who I knew for voicing Kaiba in what we now know as Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0. You know, the green Kaiba? Which honestly makes sense here. For a more recent comparison, though, he also voiced Cherry from Skate, I believe. Okay, to be fair, when I first saw him, it was before I started to pay attention to the story and before, like, stuff about the past came out. So I was just like, oh, he looks pretty and angelic because of his unit, I guess. And when I saw his name for the first time, it sounded very expensive and influential. Not to mention his first name is making him out to be some sort of amazing smart person. Maybe this higher really sense of purpose. So just based on that, I'm like, all right, you're probably a pompous rich kid who looks soft and speaks softly, but says some kaiba-ass mean shit. Little did I know. Now, people who know me in real life know that whenever this kid is brought up, I always start with, fuck you, H.E. I'm like half joking, but as I've already mentioned, I'm still pretty petty about the war. Even back in the day, people were trying to tell me like, oh, but he's changed. And this was in like 2016 or something. Like, we've barely even started. And so I was like, bitch, where? Especially after the Marionette and Element stories came out. That shit had happened just the year before, like in terms of like in the universe, the story, right? Many students still haven't fully healed from that. And H.E. and his little war council want to have this cute attitude of like, I never want to do that again. As if he just tried snowboarding for the first time or something and decided it wasn't for him. Like you better not do that again. Fuck. But still, I was willing to be like, okay, the year has passed in the story. Like, so in 2019, right? He's moving on to do things, and maybe in the new game, he's grown, right? And then he says some bullshit the first fucking new chapter of the new game to Alkaloid. Like, immediately my desire to give him the benefit of the doubt just jumped off a cliff. I was like, you know what? No, I don't think I will. Because, like, I didn't even know Alkaloid like that in the beginning, right? Like, you just met them, or knew them enough to care. But him saying mean shit to them right off the bat made me protective of them. Like, holy shit, dude. The only reason he's not as fucking cutthroat is because of Hibiki, but we'll get to you next, you fucking clown-ass mofo. I'm like never getting over what he did, and how he treated my precious sons. Like, not just the eccentrics, but like I mentioned in an earlier video with rabbits. Like, him constantly referring to my boys as meat just made me want to slap the blue out of his eyes. Oh my god. Like, is that really necessary? Like, you can do your whole cute little student council evil villain role without saying shit like that. But also, like, please correct me if I'm wrong, because disliking someone who isn't even real is so tiring. But isn't his outlook on the idol industry just, he wants to be able to manufacture tons of perfect idols or some shit? Like, I'm sorry if that part is wrong, but for some reason I remember learning that at some point and thinking, oh my god, wow, I hate your take on the industry. It's just even worse that I wouldn't put it past him to think that, even if it isn't true. Like, that's how business-oriented I think he is. Okay, I don't have enough medication to continue talking about this kid. I gotta move on. Oh wait, his signature, right? I do like his signature. It is really pretty. But I don't know what that part at the end is. It's just his first name, but it says, like, dot orange juice. Like, what is this supposed to... I actually don't know. Oh, and like, by the way, I'm going through their signatures because I've never really super paid attention to them before. I thought it was like a really good moment for me to actually do so for once. But yeah, whatever. It looks pretty. Okay. All right, Hibiki, fucking clown. I don't even need to super talk about who voices him, Egu, or Takuya Engachi, because that man is literally everything, especially idol stuff. He's one of those, what I call, idol voice actors, because he's in just so many of them. But Hibiki's design did catch my eye. I mean, that long hair though. And I love that his whole name was a pun. It's like echoing, reverberating. It makes sense because it's like a lot of these initial characters, they have like sound related names because it's an idol thing, so it made sense. I just really liked his name. He seemed to be the really extra dramatic type, which I usually really love. So I had a positive image of him. I mean, I'm someone who loves characters like Homare from A3 and Argenti from Honkai, so I have like a really, well, not really, but somewhat iffy love-hate thing with him now after all the events that have occurred. Especially when Element first came out. That event changed my view of a lot of the characters. But I went from liking him to feeling bittersweet every time. I mean, he has mellowed out H.E. a lot. Like I kind of mentioned before, which is great. But the fact that he even joined Fina after the war, I feel some type of way about it. Like poor Natsume did. I mean, after all these years, I do kind of see why he did it, but it just feels really weird. Like, I still didn't like that, but I'm not as mad about it now. But again, I'm just really, I hold grudges for a very long time. Things bother me for a while. So that's like a personal problem. But also, speaking of, like, not to mention how he not actually acted during his own execution. Just him being like, yes, execute me. Which, I know that sounds harsh, but we're gonna get to that later too. That shit made me cry the first time, and they had to like fucking animate it and make me cry again. Do not talk to me about his execution, how everyone was watching him, and it's just, oh my god. I don't hate him by any means, though. I just feel really weird about it. It definitely didn't help that Pt1 kept drudging the war back across various events, even in the new game. I was like, really? We're gonna bring this up again in Shinsekai? Which I really love that event, but I was like, really? Like, let me heal, man. He's still really funny, though. I love how he talks. I do enjoy his energy. I just got the war, though. No, I gotta stop. There's so many more characters left. All right, let's just look at his signature. Oh, it's so cute. Wait, is that supposed to be like a heart? The little W's part of the heart, and it's really cute. Oh, look, it's the little pink fuck. He's lucky he's voiced by the great Ayumu. Of course, the voice of Hinata from Haikyuu, but also Sane from Devilman Crybaby. Oh, and Hajun from Paralive. Guy's got range. At first glance, I thought he was gonna be just like a cute kid, like that one extremely cute character in the whole series. But then he spoke, and then I was like, what the fuck did you just say? And ever since then, he's been classified as the little pink fuck in my books. That's like actually what I call him. I rarely call him by his name. I know I also tend to like pompous characters, but this was on a really obnoxious level. This was like, there's like positive, really cute pompous or fun pompous. This is just not it. And I was not having a great time every time he spoke. I mean, he has gotten better, to his credit, but that first impression really left a horrible taste in my mouth. I was not giving him any chance for years. I was like, okay, no, I don't think I hate him now. It's just fun to kind of make fun of him. I have a very slight aversion to him. Like, I'm not thrilled when I get his cards, I'll put it that way. I did feel, I guess I did feel kind of some type of way that he was super, like, looking up to Eiichi. But all of those, that's kind of not his fault, because he wasn't there when the war was happening, so I'm not gonna put that one on him. It just kind of annoyed me because someone liked Eiichi. Again, that's a B problem. Oh yeah, that looks about right. Look at these swirls and like the heart on the eye. Yeah, that makes sense. He would. That's all I gotta say about that. Yuzuru, the butler! Voiced by Hashimoto, who we unfortunately don't see around too often. A shame, because I really do like his voice. I already have a weakness for butler characters. Like, so my first impression was really good. Though I was questioning why he was so loyal to the little pink fuck. Despite that, I was just okay with him. Because, yeah, I liked that he was a butler. But other than that, he didn't seem to have much going for him, unfortunately. He blended into the background very, very much. And, like, in the beginning, he had this phase of not liking Anzu, and I was like, oh, I will slap you and your precious little master if you don't show some goddamn respect. But now, funnily enough, he's my favorite Pt1 character, especially after the first time some of his past was revealed. I was like, oh, so you're not just some butler. Like, so what you're telling me is that you can be Sebastian at any moment. I love you now. Cause like, have you seen what he looks like before he was a butler? Like, look at this shit. Holy shit, dude. Cause he used to be like a little soldier boy before he joined, right? So I'm pretty sure he's one of the very few characters here who are actually capable of murder. I personally call him Yuzurun. Not sure if you can hear the difference, but there's a at the end. I don't know why I made his name longer, but I did. It sounds cute. Oh my god. No, you know what? This does fit with how he talks. This signature looks like how he talks. Because he has the most typical butler speech pattern I've ever heard in my life. It looks fancy, but still clean and only slightly stylized. But it doesn't look like he's rushing it whenever he writes this. Because it just looks so perfect. I still think, unfortunately, Eiichi's my favorite signature. But I think Yuzuru is easily my second favorite. Okay. God, Akatsuki just has to be next. I'm gonna fucking die, dude. Alright, Keito, you goddamn tactician, let's go. Voiced by Umeme. Look, okay. Or Yuichiro Umehara, who was in a few other stuff I knew back in the day, kind of. Not a lot, because he's young. We're like the same age. But more recently, he's in Genshin as Al-Haytham. He's playing another smart green guy who likes to read. That checks. At first sight, I really liked Keito, because he's the glasses character who looked like your typical serious mean type, and was probably part of the student council. I usually like those characters. He's the guy who I thought Hokuto was, plus the glasses. Like, thank you, yes. Like, even when he was putting his foot down as a member of the student council, like, that was expected. Like, this is exactly what I thought you'd be like, so, yes, keep going. But then, Not only was he just a member of it, the fact that he was part of the war council as well, and not just like a tiny part by any means. I was like, how dare you? I liked you! Your past is betraying me! So I call him a tactician for a reason. Or strategist. I think it's tactician, because he came up with... Okay, hold on, let me get it. So to my knowledge, he is the reason the eccentrics were executed. Which I know I mentioned before, it sounds really harsh, but that's what they were called, executions. Because Eiichi didn't actually know how to go about this whole thing. He just knew that he wanted to reform the school. And Kaito was like, I got you, and came up with the plan to single out, separate these top students and execute them. You know, take them down one by one and make themselves look like the heroes, right? As if that wasn't bad enough, he turned around after the war, and this is to my knowledge, so please tell me if I'm wrong, but like, he said, I'm gonna make sure Eiichi never does anything like that ever again. Like, bitch, that was your idea! You did that, my guy! What the fuck are you talking about? So this is why I side-eye him every time he comes home when I pull for stuff. Do I hate him, though? I do absolutely abhor the plan he came up with. I mean, it spurred, like, betrayal and trauma legitimately among the students, and they're all just kids. Like, it's as bad as it gets without getting anything like fantasy or sci-fi involved, you know what I mean? However, I do still believe him when he says he's not gonna let it happen. Which, again, really precious of him to say. But he hasn't really been much of an asshole since then. He's just been, like, the expected level of, like, cold stern that he would be being the glasses character. And he does have like an oddly funny nerdy side to him, so he gets like 2% of a pass. And he's an archer, which while I do hate using archers in game, like in Genshin I never use the bow characters, but I do have a weakness for archers as like a type of character. So that's kind of like another point to him, I guess. I'm still gonna feel some type of way though every time I see him. It's not enough that I don't want to watch or listen to whatever he's in, for sure. Because like I said last time, Akatsuki is actually one of my my favorite units, so, you know, him being like that hasn't stopped me from listening to them. I mean, even Eiichi doesn't stop me from listening to some Fine songs, so, you know. Alright, let's look at your signature, my guy. Yeah, that sounds about right. That looks about right, I'm sorry. Looks really refined, but kind of fancy a little bit. Okay, I'm liking this so far. Alright. Kuda! One of my sons! Okay. Voiced by the amazing, curry-loving, magician-turned-voice actor Kamiya, who also voices Leo from Hit Mike. When I first saw him, I mean, you could tell he's that one character who, like, is probably fighting people and everyone's scared of him. But you immediately find out that he can sew, and I was like, wow, I love you. Because he reminded me of one of my, in general, favorite characters, Kanji from P4. I was like, I'm taking you with me. You're not part of the angry, but we'll fix your button family. Because I'm also like that. I don't know, I feel like people just don't expect me to know how to, like, crochet and knit and sew. So, like, I relate to those kind of characters. It's just, like, a very specific kind of character. I was pretty saddened when I found out that he had a hand in helping Kaito with Rei's execution. But this is where I have the same feeling as Shu, which I'll explain more later. But yeah, I mean, it just means that I don't really hold it against him. He looks and talks scary, but he's an overall, like, really caring guy. He knows how to take care of people. And I just, like, okay, well, because I mentioned Shu, I love the promise he made to him, saying that he's gonna protect him. It's so cute. Like, you would never have expected them to be childhood friends, but that was adorable. Kudo's actually really great. I love him a lot. Clearly, because he's one of my sons. Him and Yuki are my sons. Not my only sons, but they're in the family. He's using, like, a really bold marker. I'm just gonna assume everyone in Akatsuki writes their names in, like, the kanji. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, it's just really straightforward and, literally bold. And he's using one of those nibs. Tips? But it's still not, like, mess. I don't know, that's nice. Oh, man. No, Keiko's is still kind of prettier, though. Soma stands for Sword Master! Does any other part of the fandom use that joke, or is it just the Korean fandom? Voiced by Kaminaga, who is also his stage actor. He's great. Dude, when I first saw him, I was like, what in the Ukanda is this guy, and why do all samurai characters look like this? You know what I'm talking about? Like in series where most characters don't use swords and you got like the one guy who does, their hair always has these like the long hairs on the side, the ponytail, and it's gotta be some dark color. His name though, I was like, well, first of all, the voice actor's name, the last name has God in it, and so does Soma's last name. So I thought that was just like a really fun tidbit. But also, I'm like, why do you sound both majestic and goofy? Like, you don't look like a horse. But speaking of his name, though, I don't know if they did this on purpose. I think it was in Akatsuki Iroha Uta, in the chorus where there's like this line where they mention a divine horse. And I was like, ooh, is that for Soma? I also just laughed when I saw his lines because I was like, oh, you're not just the sword guy. You talk like you're from 400 years ago, too. Okay. But being the sword guy, like, he has one, but, like, not only does he use a sword, he just carries it around 24/7. Like, how is this legal in this school? But I think, if I remember, it was that you're not supposed to have any weapons, but he was, like, a special exception. Especially since I'm pretty sure it wasn't one of those, like, bamboo sword instances like Peko Peko Yama. But when I found out he was in the Marine Bio Club and he loves turtles, that was such an unexpected, adorable side. I mean, in contrast to the side of him that just, like, constantly wanted to cut a bitch. But yeah, it was cute. Also, him just being involved with Kanata's past, because, I mean, we haven't gotten to Ryusetai yet, but they ended up meeting when Kanata was still a god. It was this whole thing of him and Mama was involved, trying to keep Kanata from getting taken away or some shit. I don't know, it's been a minute since I read that story, but I remember it feeling insane. I feel like I've grown to like him over the years. Like, I already liked him in the beginning because he was the story guy, and I loved how he spoke. But it's been great seeing him grow over the years. Like, he's tried to broaden his horizons and not cut people down. I like him a lot, actually. And of course, I do still joke about his name being Swordmaster. Oh, wow. God, his signature's really clean. I mean, he's kind of just printing at this point. That's really nice. But I think Keito's still my favorite. I just really like it when it's, like, stylized. The Elder Vampire, Rei Sakura! Voiced by Masu, or Toshiki Masuda, another favorite actor. He's in a ton of shit, too. He's great. Also, he has a channel. Go watch him be a dingus while playing games. It's actually really adorable how much he loves Gunvolt, and his subliminal playthrough was fucking hilarious. Dude, right. Okay, so when I first saw his name, I thought of this candy that my grandma used to give me all the time. Like, you know, the one in the tin that's impossibly difficult to open. But also, there's a voice actor with the name Rei Sakuma. Spelled completely differently, but she's like a really old school veteran actor. I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. And for a hot second, I thought, like, is this on purpose? Like, no, I think it's just like a coincidence. But now I'm wondering if his last name, Sakuma, is like a double pun. Because on the one hand, the way his last name is spelled, it's got the word for, like, going against. But it also sounds like Akuma. I don't know. But it does make sense in hindsight. If it's not on purpose, then it's a really wonderful coincidence. Anyways, when I first saw him, I was like, oh, you're like one of very few characters who have, like, actual black hair. Well then, I didn't actually think he was a vampire. Like, now I see it, like, oh, black hair and red eyes, but I was so used to seeing vampires have, like anime vampires have, like, white hair for some reason. But then he started talking, and I was like, why the fuck are you talking like a grandpa? And then I found out that he's got this whole vampire thing going on. And I was like, okay, wait, that makes sense, because you're acting like you're super old, right? But also, it's not like he's completely lying about that, because the whole Sakuma family just acts like this. Like, they consider themselves to be vampires and that they have to drink blood or some shit. But then, he's a vampire who's not good with blood, so he drinks tomato juice. I don't know, I thought that was really funny. I like really related to him, because I also have issues with, like, functioning in the morning, because I have more energy at night, right? The sun really does not do good for me. I don't like tomato juice, though. I don't really like tomatoes. And I don't have a problem with blood like he does. But I have had this running joke, because I, in real life, do also have, like, this demon vampire thing going on, like, you know, as a joke. Because those are nicknames that have been running for me since I was in, like, middle school. But I would always joke about how I love garlic and garlic bread despite being a vampire. Like, that's how I felt when the whole thing with him and the blood came up. So I was like, oh, I relate to you. I like you. And then the events of the past came up. And there was this whole painful thing about him being in Dead Man's, you know, crossroads. How his relationship with Koga changed, how fucking exhausted he was trying to solve everyone's problems. Because he used to be Yumenosaki's student council president before fucking Eiichi took over. But not only helping out the school, but he was also helping out other schools outside, like traveling overseas to help these other places. Like, he was just too nice for his own good, and that's why he got so tired, and I don't blame him. Him and Eiichi really were the true opposites, though. It's like, devil and angel's clothing and vice versa. It becomes even more apparent when you see how he used to look the year prior, because his hair was literally a mirror image of Eiichi's. I thought that whole thing was cool. And then, after the war, he just got really tired of being there for everyone, which I get. Like, you go through all that, as in, like, working your ass off to help everyone, and then get, singled out, ostracized, and executed. Like, I'd be fucking done too. He just fucking left the country and came back with Adonis and a whole ass new speech pattern. But also, too, he came back home to a betrayed little brother and a really confused doggo, which we'll get to later. And yet, still, he remains a kind person. Like, it took him a bit to be, like, helping Anzu and Trickstar in the beginning of the game. He was a little harsh in the beginning, and I still don't blame him for that. He was, like, still recovering from the shit show that happened the previous year. But yeah, absolutely love him. I love how much he cares for people. The contrast between him talking like a grandpa, acting like this vampire, and being really goofy. He's so great. He's one of my favorite characters in the series. He is Sun tier, but he doesn't have Sun vibes, so I don't actually call him my son. But I love him just as much as I love, like Yu and Yuzurun. So, oh my god, look at his signature. What in the... It's like real... It's what? It's really curly. It's his whole name in this really strange, like... What's going on with the A? Is that supposed to look like a music note or something? Why are there 2 dots above the S? I don't know what's going on. Is it supposed to look like something? Am I missing it? It's interesting. It's not like what you'd expect from... You know what it is? It doesn't match his outward appearance and his persona, but it matches who he is on the inside, I feel like, because he's just really a goofy guy. He's really funny. He's also kind of dumb sometimes. Koga, my doggo-san! Voiced by Ono Yu, or Yuki Ono. He's also in a plethora of things, including Tsukibro, because he's a member of Sora. He's also in Takaichi. Okay, so, immediately, I saw his name and thought 2 things. Sakura from Dangan, because, like, the last name sounds the same. But also, like, oh, you're a fucking wolf, because you're the vampire's familiar. I got you. Alright. I immediately knew I'd like him. But to be fair, another type of character I have a soft spot for is the angry confrontational type. Because that's also me. So I love characters like him, Bakugo, kind of Tanaka from Haikyuu, although he's not as angry, but I do love Tanaka. Kanji from P4, right? Yuji from P5, like, you get it. Now, as a trans person, I will mention this, but he did have an era early on of using a not nice word, which I will not say because it feels very uncomfortable to say with my own mouth, to Arashi. But he has since apologized, like, in-game, like, as characters, like, he said sorry to Arashi, that, like, he didn't mean to hurt anyone, and hasn't used it since, so we're good in that regard. My son has learned. I feel like real humans can learn from this kind of behavior. So yeah, loved how seemingly arrogant and rash he was, but he's also really funny. And actually gets called doggy by Ray. I was like, what are you guys? And god, the first time I saw the card of him roped up, I cackled. Like, no way, he just tied up his own wolf boy! And, like, I immediately found out that, like, I was wrong about him being Ray's familiar. Because I soon learned that role was taken by someone else, but I'll get to that eventually. He's certainly improved since the early days, like, especially with his, his relationship to Ray. I mean, this kid was following Ray around just like a puppy, and he was so enamored. He was so, like, he held Ray in such high regard and respected him so much, to the point that the way he talks right now is from Ray. He got it from him. Because Ray used to talk like that, before the war happened and he fucking disappeared. And then when he came back, Koga started acting, like, disrespectful to him. They've worked through some issues and gotten a lot better, though. I love them so much. Like, these two learned that they hate being apart from each other. Or at the very least, Ray has expressed that it's painful for him to be away from Koga, which I was like, oh, we're really saying this right now. Okay, the ship is sailing. And another thing I love about him is that he loves card games, apparently. That's just a plus, because I too love cards. And despite his rough attitude, he's actually pretty nice and serious. Like, he's really nice to Anzu, which we love. I know he literally stepped on her in the very beginning, but that was an accident, okay? We love a son who respects our queen. I forgot which event this was. It might have been a Halloween thing, but Koga was outside, and Chiaki just came out of nowhere treating Koga like a children's show monster. I don't know, he called Koga something like a wolf man or whatever, acting like he's about to fight. And Koga was so unfazed and serious. He didn't look upset. His face was just so flat. And all he said was, "Is this for a show or something?" And I love that about him. I love him a lot, God. Also, just a quick side note, but Onoyu is a great singer, so Koga ends up sounding really good as well. Like, have you listened to his solo songs? And even just his lines in UNDEAD songs, like, my God, he's so good. He definitely was, and still is, one of my ensemble sons. Like, see, Koga is like son vibes. Ray isn't, but I love them both equally. Oh my God, please help. All right, what's your signature? Oh my God. Koga did it first, Phantom Thieves. Look at this. Wow! And he puts his names together like it's like the names are merged with that one line, which is really cool. That's so fun. I love that. Oh. God, I picked a good son. Okay, that has to be my favorite. There's a face in it. Come on. I can't tell if it's supposed to be a wolf or just a little demon though, but either way, I love it. Adonis! Eat me! The guy voiced by Wachi, or Wataru Hatano. I think at that point I knew him for voicing Gajeel from Fairy Tail, but also he's the singer who sang that YOLO song from Yuri on Ice, and I'm pretty sure he sang a thing for Dance and the Dance with the Devils, or is he actually also in Dance? Look, that series I don't really know, but he has a super distinct singing voice that I love. Oh my God. He's also in Saizuru Tori. I mean, immediately, I was like, are you Yoruichi? But also your name is Adonis? But also his last name being a fucking pun, because it sounds like to hunt sounds. Like, okay guys, I see you. He's supposed to be like the token foreigner character, is he? But he's so good though! Now at first he looked like he'd be really quiet. God, he's quiet! Do you see how many lines he didn't have in the anime? Unfortunately, I don't know too much about him, but I do adore him. Like, I know I could, like, look this shit up and research it, but I feel like if I did that, it wouldn't be like this, me explaining my, like, organic experience with it. Like, this is, like, all me remembering shit from the top of my head, right? So, oh my God, who's in trouble? Jesus. No, that's probably just the cops, like, using their sirens to bypass red lights because they want to go to lunch or something. That's usually what it is. Okay, back to Adonis though, because he's more important. I do know that he's really close to Soma, the two purple-haired boys. Like, he used to ask Soma about all kinds of stuff as if Soma knew everything, which is really cute, I thought. He does track and field. I believe he still does, because he's still in school. He's like a third year right now. He loves protein, because he's like the strong guy, right? And he knows how to play the ocarina, which is super neat. But, like, the whole thing with him and protein, like, that's why you often see him saying stuff like, eat meat, or he's, like, holding a banana. There was also that one card that showed that he didn't know how to use a smartphone, which is hilarious. From what I've seen, he's just a really, like, quiet, strong sweetheart, and has never done anything wrong. He's really protective in general, and is just, at the very least, you can't hate him. Like, how can you? He just wants to protect everything and make sure that you eat well. I also really remember his first solo being one of my favorites among the first round of albums, because you don't really get to hear him much singing, I feel like. So when I first heard his solo, and it's just him singing, I was like, alright, you're voiced by a singer. He sounds so great though. Like, what a contrast to how low and quiet he usually is when he speaks. But when he sings, like, he sings. Speaking of his singing, I think I've told this story, like, in passing in another video at some point. I forget which one. But the voice actor, so Wachi, right? When they were... he was talking about his experience recording Melody in the Dark. And you know how in Melody in the Dark, in the beginning, they have, like, that shout, right? And every character has, like, their line shouting in the beginning. And when he was recording this, he said his shouting line really quietly, as if he was just talking as the character. And the people in the recording booth were like, really? Like, come on, like, shout. And poor Wachi, he was trying to do his job really seriously and thought, like, oh, and he was thinking, oh, I thought, you know, I should do it quietly because my character is usually quiet. And they're like, no, please actually yell. Dude, both the character and the voice actor are so precious and so goofy. Oh my God, help. But yeah, that first solo, was it called, like, Sakal Faith? It was something like that. Please, like, if you've never heard it, look it up. It's great. It's gotta be on here somewhere. Like, everything's on here somewhere. Now, this is gonna be a little bit ruined, but I'm gonna be honest. I've already seen Adonis' signature because he's in the ensemble training game, which I also play because that helps me work out. And let me just show you. Look at this. Also, actually, no. Let me show you his handwriting from the training game. Let me show you. His handwriting is just abysmal. It's abysmal. No, it's so funny. This is not a con to his character. This is a pro. Like, you don't understand. This is hilarious. I love this about him. I love his handwriting. It's just... God help, I love Adonis so much. He's so funny. Help. Oh, Kaoru. Voiced by Kei Hosogai, and as a result, I still call Kaoru the guy from Seattle, just because Kei used to live there. I'm sorry, Kei. At first, I thought his name was very obviously themed, because it's got wind, it's got scent, but then you find out why his name is Kaoru, and I'm like, oh. Well, now I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, basically, it's because he can tell girls apart by scent. And again, as a result, I was pretty averse to him, because he was the ladies' man at the school, and I usually don't like those types of characters. But also, he's the one member of UNDEAD who didn't seem like he belonged. Like, it sounds really mean, but you know what I mean? Because it's supposed to be a vampire, like, rock group. They're really intense, right? Like, Ray, of course, he's the actual vampire. Koga's a werewolf, right? Adonis is purple. But also he has like a strong air about him, right? Like, he looks like he just stumbled upon this group by accident and just ended up staying because they let him, you know what I mean? I didn't really like how he treated Anzu in the beginning, and like, thank God she didn't give a fuck, because I felt so uncomfortable. Oh my god. He has significantly improved though, like in the second game. He's a lot more aware and respectful to Anzu. But now it's to the point where he's super careful and nervous around her, which I never thought I'd see from him. Like, after seeing that, I didn't mind him as much, but now I feel kind of bad for him. So, like, for example, like, when I'm doing mini talks, the basic game is where you know which answer is right or wrong, right? And I already know which answer is right or wrong, so I will purposefully be like a little mean and choose the wrong answer. And the most prominent example is there's this one thing where Anzu meets him in a hallway, and the worst answer you can pick is, oh, I was just passing by. Because it's pretty obvious that he is really happy to see you and he wants to talk to you. And then he gets sad when you say that, and I just feel really bad for him. Because he responds to that like, oh. I will say, his voice actor did really help with my perception of Kaoru, because Kei is hilarious. I remember when Ensemble, the monthly streams, they're really like, they've amped up so much over the years, but they used to be really bare bones. And this is back when Asanuma used to be the MC for it, and they'd have like really bad tea as punishment for failed challenges. I wish they would bring that back. That was fucking hilarious. But there was this one time that Kei was there. He had to drink whatever the fuck this tea was, and he literally got up from his seat and yelled, "Whoever made this is dumb!" Was gold. I love Kei so much. He's great. But yeah, so didn't like him at first, but he's gotten like leagues better. He's okay in my book. I'm okay with him now. Oh, I really like his signature. Oh, that's cute. I mean, I love wings in general, but that's really adorable. Ah, damn it. I love it. Look at the little heart. Oh. All right. Curse you, Kaoru. Fucking having an adorable signature. Curse you. So that concludes part 1, and I will see you in the next one where I talk about rabbits, Yusatai, Twink, and Knights. Okay, bye.